What's going on, everybody? Well, our industry is a shit show right now. That's what's going on. If you are thinking of becoming an owner-operator, I'm going to try to convince you not to become an owner-operator in 2023. I'm going to go over a few points of why I believe that this year is not the year for you to become an owner-operator. So let's talk about the freight rates that we've seen in Q1 of 2023. So that's January, the start of February, and what I think is going to happen for the rest of the year. So the rates are at an all-time low that I've seen over the last 3 years. So freight rates in the US are typically around, or they were around, between $2.75 to $4 a mile. So in about 6 months ago, the freight rates were through the roof. That also wasn't normal, but usually they're about $2.75 to $3.25 per mile. Well, right now we're seeing almost all-time lows at $2.25 to $2.50 per mile on a round-trip basis. Now, those are extremely low rates. I don't know about you guys, but if you are thinking of becoming an owner-operator and opening up your own authorities, this is not a good time to do it. Number two, the cost of equipment is still high, but it's falling and falling fast. So in the US today, you're gonna buy a brand new truck for about $200,000. A 4-year-old truck is probably gonna cost you about $100,000, but I see the prices are dropping and they're dropping fast. If you don't believe me, you can see these last 3 videos that I've done, and I'm hawking the market in the US and in Canada at the Ritchie brothers auctions to see what's happening with, look up here or over here, with what's going on with the results of the Ritchie brothers auction. So where I take 4-year-old trucks, 5-year-old trucks, and I compare them to 3 months prior. There is a common denominator, and the prices are going down, and they're going down fast. So what's there to say about what's going to happen in 6 months from today? I truly believe that the trucks are going to be, it's going to be a free-for-all in the US, and there's going to be trucks all over the place literally selling at probably 30, 40, or 50% off of what you're seeing right now with prices. All right, let's talk a little bit about interest rates. So I don't know if you guys know, but in the US right now, the interest rates are also extremely high. So 2 years ago and 3 years ago, you were able to finance your truck with really good credit, about 5.5%. Today, somebody with really good credit and a homeowner is probably getting between 8 to 9%, even 9.5% and 10% I've seen. So let's have a look over here. I want you to see what your monthly payments are when you're financing $160,000. So let's say you were to buy a brand new truck right now, go into the dealership, pick up a $200,000 truck. You're gonna put $40,000 down and finance $160,000. Well, the first slide I have over here for you is $160,000 financed over 60 months at 5.5% interest rate. The monthly payment was $3,056. Now, slide number 2 is today, and today you're gonna get the exact same truck financed at 9.5% over 60 months, and you're gonna pay $3,360. That's $360 more than before. Now look at the interest, the total interest paid out over the course of 5 years. At 5.5%, you're paying $23,371 over the course of 5 years, and right now you will be paying $41,617 over the course of 5 years. So same identical truck, you're financing at 5.5% versus today you're gonna finance around 9.5%. That's another reason why you should not become an owner-operator in 2023. All right, reason number 4. So in Q1 of 2023, it is much more common to have layovers. So let me explain this layover thing. So why are we seeing more and more layovers? So about 6 or 8 months ago, when the freight rates were $4 or $5 per mile, when we saw it at an all-time high, what was happening? There was 8 loads for every 1 driver. So all these brokers were literally fighting over your trucks. Today, everything is vice versa. There are 8 trucks for 1 load. That's what's happening. That's why carriers are fighting over freight right now and decreasing the rates, making it further and further and further. They used to be at $2.50, $2.40, $2.30. Now we're seeing them around $2.20 per mile, and it's only the beginning. It will get worse before it gets better. So more and more layovers are going to be happening in the US, also in Canada, but in the US. All right, so let's say in a perfect world, we have our freight. Let's say in a perfect world, we got our truck, we financed it at good rates. Shop rates, let's talk about that. Shop rates are through the roof right now, currently sitting at about $185 to $195 per hour. I remember literally, what was it, 8-9 years ago, the rates were about $100, $105 an hour. They were nowhere near these outrageous rates. Not only are the rates $185 to $195 an hour, but you're also gonna be waiting 4 or 5 days until somebody's gonna look at your truck. So the downtime right now that's happening is just astronomical, and it's hitting the bottom line of owner operators. It's really hitting them hard. All right, the next thing we'll talk about is instability in fuel prices. I mean, God, what have we seen in the last 12 months? We've seen the diesel prices at $3 a gallon, $3.50, $4, $4.55, $5.50. We saw them creeping up to $6 a gallon, depending on where you are in the US. And now they went back down to about $4, $4.50. There is a complete instability in our diesel prices in the US. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the fuel went up tomorrow or if it dropped down tomorrow. I have no clue what's happening, and I can't even guess what's going to happen. So instability in fuel prices, I would like to see people holding off on becoming owner operators until this thing gets under control. Actually, it really doesn't matter what the fuel prices are as long as it's stable, right? So the problem is when you have is the fluctuations that you get. When they go up drastically, down drastically, the market just doesn't have time to adjust to it. The next thing we're going to talk about is the disadvantage that owner operator has over these big fleets. An owner operator cannot compete against bigger fleets. Now, when everybody's paying $4 and $5 per mile, nobody cares. Everybody's making money. When the freight rates are low, this is where you're going to see the smaller guys either go out of business, the smaller guys are going to either tackle on to bigger carriers, or the smaller guys literally are just going to go out of business or walk away from their trucks. So the owner operators are in a huge disadvantage in comparison to these larger fleets. So there you have it, my reasoning on why you should hold off on becoming an owner operator in 2023. Hope you learned something from this video. I'm Ronan, and this channel is all about trucking.